Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be watching a Backstage with Millionaires video. This one on how India has changed in the last 10 years, 2014 to 2024. Backstage with Millionaires. I've not seen this channel, but it was recommended to me a couple times. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. That is a wall of text. I ain't reading that. I'm sure we'll see it in the video itself. Though I do see right here, India continues to lag behind China. I don't agree with that, but we shall see. Anyways, the link to this video will be in the description down below, so make sure to go and check it out. And let's learn what has changed in India in the past 10 years, shall we?
Recently, Piyush Goyal made a controversial speech at a startup event.
What are India's startups doing today? We have
Delivery. I saw this. He talks about how India's startups are like focused on like food delivery and things of that nature.
focused on food delivery app, turning unemployed youth into cheap labor. दुकानदारी का ही काम करना है हमें या भारत की पहचान बनाना? Or are we going to be happy being delivery boys and girls?
Now, the idea behind this speech was to give a reality check to Indian startups on how we are lagging behind in innovation. Most of our startups are solving basic problems like food delivery. But
I mean, that's still a problem that needs to be solved. It's important still, yes, but yeah, I mean, I understand there needs to be more than just that. But that you shouldn't look down on the importance of that too.
bluntness with which Piyush Goyal made this speech turned it into a national debate.
Union Minister Piyush Goyal's comments
become a big debate.
80% of the startups in India are nothing but a racket. If it has to make a meaningful
racket?
contribution, it has to be innovative. Where are our innovations?
The reality check from Piyush Goyal.
Now, it's true that India is far behind China in terms of innovation. Take any
I think we all know why China appears to be further along, and that is simply because of copyright theft. I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to say it. It is known all around the world. There are countries that have banned Chinese citizens, banned Chinese students, banned Chinese workers, specifically because they steal this information, they send it back to China. But we'll see.
important sector, EV, AI, semiconductor, or
Literally, they took all of this. They literally took all of this
robotics. Chinese products are years ahead of India. But in my
because they stole it.
opinion, this is not a fair comparison. I mean, India and China have had very different journeys. Starting from the 1990s, the Chinese authoritarian government took some strong top-down decisions, which put it on a very different growth trajectory from India. And unlike China's top-down approach, India is a bottom-up society, driven by individuals, small entrepreneurs, and grassroots innovations. As a result of this, our growth is much slower than China. India spent a lot of time solving the basic needs of people. But now that is done. India is now aiming to become a developed nation in the next 25 years, and we are already on track to do that. We have made great progress in the last 10 years. I mean, India of 2014 looked very different from India today. And
Wow.
that is what I want to focus on this video. I want to talk about 7 transformative changes that have happened in India in last 10 years and how it's going to help our country in the long term.
I'm excited to see it. I really am. I mean, I've already seen a lot
Before we
based
start,
off
I
of
want to say that
everything.
we are now part of Zerodha's 01 network.
What is this? 001 network? I don't know.
And now let's jump into the episode. The first thing
Well, that was the whole statement. What is the zero network? I don't know. Okay.
I want to talk about is electrification. It's crazy that I have to talk about electrification in this video. I mean, it's such a basic need. But the truth is, 10 years ago, a big chunk of our population did not have access to electricity. According to this World Bank report, in 2014, around 264 million people, or 20% of India's population,
Wow.
did not have access to electricity. So effectively, 1/5 of our population was living in the dark. And for the remaining people who had electricity, there were massive power cuts. At the time, an average rural household in India had only 12.5 hours of
I was going to say probably lots of load shedding, right? Lots of load shedding and like dedicated blackout times.
electricity daily, so no power for the half of the day. This changed dramatically after 2014, and in just 4 years, India achieved 100% electrification. Let me show you.
What? Huh? Well, 9 states achieved 100% household electrification under the scheme. A total of 16 states have reported 100% household. 100%? That's actually wild to me. How? What? Really? I play a lot of Geoguessr, so like I'm trying to remember like every like little small rural village. And yeah, they've all had power lines. That's one of the one of the defining metas of playing like Indian Geoguessr is like the power poles. So yeah, I guess so. For whatever reason, I was just thinking that it wasn't the case, but no, yeah, no. I think this is right. Yeah, I mean, it's right, right? He's showing like information, sourced information on the screen.
Show you this picture. This is how India looked at night before 2014, and 10 years later, this is how it looked. A crazy transformation. And do you see something very interesting in this first picture? There are these clusters of brightness. And these are the big cities of India: Delhi NCR, Ahmedabad, Mumbai Pune, Hyderabad, Bengaluru and Kolkata. And there's a big contrast with the rest of India. Basically, urban India had access to most of the electricity. And this has changed to this now. And you can see how electricity is now distributed to the rest of the Indian heartland as well.
That's great.
So how did
That's
this
fantastic.
happen? Well, in 2015, as soon as the new government came, they launched something called Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana. And the idea was to bring power to every village. This was achieved by 2018. India declared that
That's amazing.
100% of its villages were
That's actually genuinely amazing.
now electrified. And that meant basic infrastructure had reached every village, but not necessarily every home. And then came the Saubhagya scheme. And now the idea was to electrify every home. Under this scheme, over 28 million new homes were electrified in just 3 years. And along with this, the power supply became consistent too. From an average power supply of 17.4 hours in 2014, it increased to 22.6 hours by 2024. More electricity allowed smaller businesses and farmers to flourish. It helped factories to run for more number of hours. And this increased the overall productivity. But most importantly, it bridged the gap that earlier existed between urban and rural India. And in a way, this was the first step in India becoming a modern economy. The next transformation I want to discuss is something that was
huge. I mean, I've based off of other videos I've seen, there are rural villages in China that don't even have electricity. So, I mean, based off the earlier metric of comparing yourself to China, I mean, India's ahead already.
Thinkable 10 years ago, and that was India becoming a data powerhouse. Today, India has the cheapest mobile data in the world.
Oh, mobile data. Oh, when they said data powerhouse, I was thinking like deep storage for like internet servers and whatnot. But this is mobile data. It was thanks to like Ambani, right? That brought this out to the forefront. Correct? I forget the name of the service, but they were like offering like super cheap like mobile or internet service. And I think even like I think there's a few other companies now that are coming in to do that as well. Like Starlink just recently announced something like $10 per person per month or something. Starlink India. Temporary truce, Airtel and Reliance Jio take on Musk Starlink once again. Hey, that's good. Administration, Starlink to launch in India with disruptive $10 per month plan. So yeah, Elon Musk is launching Starlink in India for $10 a month. And that's some of the best internet you can get.
Amount of data consumed by an average Indian is way more than someone from the developed country. And that's not all. Even in terms of internet speed, India is...
Why is that? Is it because they use their phone for everything? That's probably why, right? India now leads in mobile data consumption per subscriber with 21.2 gigabytes per month and provides the world's cheapest data rates.
India has the cheapest mobile data in the world. And the amount of data consumed by an average Indian is way more than someone from the developed country. And
21 gigabytes. I mean, I go through way more than that on my like standard internet service. I don't really use my mobile data too often. But yeah, I go through way more than that. But I would be constituted as a power user. I upload, hundreds of gigabytes of like video feed to like YouTube every day. I'm constantly downloading like, video games and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, I always like video streaming. I do a lot.
And that's not all. Even in terms of internet speed, India is among the leading countries in the world.
True.
But what if I tell you that
I think most you guys watching right now, your internet's probably faster than mine.
2014, only around 250 million people in India, or like 1 in every 5, had access to the internet. Also, the internet that we had was among the slowest in the world. Take a look at this. In 2014, average mobile data speed in India was around 1.3 Mbps. Against this, China had 3.4 Mbps, US had 6.5, and Singapore had 30 Mbps. As a result of slow speed,
I don't know what
internet
my mobile
consumption
data
in
speed
India was
is.
among the lowest in the world too. Just 18 MB per user per month. Against this, China was at 126 MB and the US at 1.8 GB per user per month. This has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. Today we have the highest data consumption and also one of the fastest internet in the world. And along with this, data prices
138? I don't even know. I don't know what my mobile speed is. I guess I could probably I can turn off my Wi-Fi. I'm always on Wi-Fi, so it doesn't really matter. I'll do a quick little speed test. I'll run this and we'll see, what am I at? It ain't good. It ain't good, guys. You guys are at
highest data consumption and also one of the
138. Oh, it ain't good for me. Let me run this test again. Let me just double check. Hello? Are you gonna run for me again, brother? Yeah, okay. I'm around 50. So yeah, my mobile data speed is not good, but again, I don't use my mobile data, so it's not too much of a concern to me.
Fastest internet in the world. And along with this, data prices in India today are the lowest in the world. In 2014, 1 GB of mobile data was around 250 to 300 rupees, which today is around 10 to 15 rupees. This is a remarkable
What? 15 rupees? That's insanely cheap.
remarkable transformation in just 1 decade, something no other country has seen. And as a result of this, today India has 971 million internet users, up from 250 million in 2014. Think about this. In this digital global economy,
crazy.
almost 1 billion Indians have access to high-speed internet. I mean, that's very powerful for a country. These billion internet users will work as a strong consumer base for our local businesses. Also, more people connected to the internet means that the government's welfare program can reach them smoothly. I actually want to remind you of what our former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi had once said. Of every 1 rupee the government spends towards welfare and poverty alleviation, only 15 paise reach the intended beneficiary. And now that the government
The paise isn't really a thing anymore, right? That's like what the US would call like a penny. Let me go back. The paise. But that's not, is that still a thing? That's not a thing, right?
welfare and poverty alleviation, only 15 paise reach the intended beneficiary. And now that the government can reach directly to the people with the help of internet, this leakage of money can be stopped. And this takes me to the next point that we are going to discuss, and that is digital payments. One of the most visible changes that has happened
India's pretty far ahead on this. I will admit the UBI, is it UBI or UNI, UPI? Whatever it is, I'm sure he'll tell me. It seems like an absolutely fantastic service.
in India in the last 10 years is people using digital payments, and that is thanks to UPI. From the
UPI,
smallest tea
UPI.
sellers to street performers and even beggars on the street, everyone has a QR code and a bank account
What?
that's connected
Bro got done dirty.
to street performers and even beggars
Beggars on the street, and he shows this man, he got done dirty. Is this a beggar? Is this guy a beggar? This guy has is this a Tupac jacket? Okay. This man got so dirty. The beggars on the street.
on the street. Everyone has a QR code and a bank account that's connected to it. In 2024,
Wow.
India accounted for 49% of global real-time transaction. And if you see this complete list, India
Crazy.
did more transactions than the next 9 countries combined. And you know why India became so big in digital payments? Because unlike other countries where private players mainly introduced digital payments, in India the government made it a digital public good. Over the years, many notable people have praised India's digital payments journey. And now our government is helping other countries too to replicate the same success in their countries. But the question is, how did India do it in the first place? And that too in such a short span of time? Well, it started in 2014 when the government launched Jan Dhan Yojana. And under this scheme, almost 55 crore new bank accounts were opened. The idea was to give a
Wow.
bank account to every Indian. Then came UPI in 2016, which made paying through mobile very, very easy. It's like what companies like Alipay and Square were doing on a small scale in their countries. The Indian government did it for a billion people, and that too very quickly. And now that India has one of the most advanced
And that's a good thing as well. Like so many people have access to this sort of payment system and this sort of banking system. It lessens the burden on so many people on so many fronts. Like even here in the US, right? Like we don't have the same thing because like UPI typically is like there's no fee for UPI, right? There's no like transfer fees or anything like that. Here in the US, we do have services similar to that, but some of them do have small fees attributed to it, unfortunately. So we lose the money on that end. But I could not see myself not having some sort of digital banking or digital payment system. It's just so integral. So seeing how there's like in India, this is even taken a step further. So much better. It's actually amazing. I wish the U.S. would have a system like that, which I think, like, again, we go back to Elon Musk. I think he's trying and pushing to get something similar to that. He's trying to turn his X platform into the all-encompassing, like, world-dominating platform. And I think it's going to be getting a UPI, like, payment system intermixed with it. I don't know. We'll see.
digital payments infrastructure, it is helping us in other sectors too. To begin with, it is helping all kinds of digital businesses to collect payment instantly. Earlier, when people used to deal in cash, a big chunk of the company's resources used to be spent on handling that money. First depositing it in the bank and then waiting for days for it to reflect in your account. Now it happens in seconds in most cases. So it's fair to say that digital payments have pushed the formalization of our economy faster than anyone would have guessed. And the rise in digital payments, along with a large internet user base, has helped in the explosion of number of startups and unicorns in the country.
True,
in 2014, India had only around 350 startups. And these startups were present in only a few big cities like Bengaluru, Mumbai and Delhi. But in the last 10 years, the number of startups has increased to 1.6 lakh, almost 450 times the growth. And along with this, startups are now present in every corner of the country. According to Indian Success Report 2024, startups are now present in 670 of the total 806 Indian districts. And 50% of all the startups are in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Next, let's talk about unicorns. Up until 2014, India had just 3 unicorns. And 2 of these 3 were mainly targeting foreign clients. So in a way, Flipkart was the only true unicorn at the time in India.
I don't understand
and
the term
this scenario
unicorn.
has completely changed now. Today we have over 118 unicorns. And we are only behind the US and China in this.
You're gonna have to explain unicorns to me. Unicorn startups? I'm unfamiliar with this term. Let me look it up really quick. Unicorn startup definition. Unicorn startup refers to a private company with a value exceeding 1 billion USD. Okay.
List. And most of these unicorns have become unicorns by serving Indian customers. The old belief that Indians don't like to pay for digital products and services is completely destroyed. Today we have startups like Mensa Brands, which achieve unicorn status in just 6 months.
My
Then there
Fitness is an
Zepto,
Indian brand?
which pioneered the dark store model for quick commerce, and it's now replicated by a number of startups around the world. Then we have hardware startups like IdeaForge, which is exporting military and industrial drones to 20 plus countries. And these are just a few examples. Today, India has some of the most cutting edge startups in sectors like nanotechnology, fusion energy, space and satellites, and robotics. Now, of course, the
Very
main
cool.
reason why Indian startup ecosystem has grown so much is because of the amount of funding it has received. 10 years ago, the total funding Indian startups used to raise in the entire year was around $1.5 billion. Today, we raised that much amount in just 1 month. Also, earlier global VCs did not think of India as a distinct market. They used to have Asia-specific funds, and India was just one geography out of it. And the simple reason was we did
That's
not
weird.
have a lot of opportunities. Today though, most of the leading venture capital firms like Sequoia, Lightspeed and Axel have India-specific funds, and the fund sizes are increasing every year. Also, as more and more VC funds get an exit either through an IPO or an acquisition, it signals to the world that India has big opportunities. For example, Tiger Global invested around $1.2 billion in Flipkart, and when Walmart acquired the company, Tiger Global made a profit of around $3.5 billion. Similarly, funds like Sequoia and Axel have made massive returns from the IPO of companies like Zomato, Swiggy, and Mamaearth. And these are the VCs I'm talking about. There's a wave of new kind of investors that have come up in the last few years called angel investors. And these are the people who are solo investors, most of whom have made money in India
rich
and now
people?
are giving it back to the ecosystem. People like Anupam Mittal and Kunal Bahl have invested in over 200 startups, and these angel investors are very accessible to young founders when compared to big VC firms. And finally, the government has played a big role in promoting startup funding as well. In 2016, the Indian government for the first time launched a dedicated fund to invest in startups. It was called Fund of Funds for Startups, and its size was
FFS.
10,000 crore rupees. Pretty big step for a country like India, where earlier governments had played a very small role in promoting startups. And this brings me to the next point, which is increased government support for startups. See, India has historically been a socialist country. So if someone has made a lot of money through starting a business, the society did not like them too much.
Yeah, that's the downside of socialism, is the lack of growth.
And this is something that has changed in the last 10 years. It started when Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked about promoting startups in his Independence Day speech in 2015. Then in 2016, the government formally launched the Startup India scheme. And under this, introduced many benefits for the startups, things like tax holidays, simplification of laws, and fast tracking of patent applications. And then the government launched the Fund of Funds for Startups worth 10,000 crore rupees, where the government partnered with the private sector to fund good startups. And this is something very common in China, by the way, where all the major companies that you see have received government support in some way or the other. Today in India too, the government
The government of China owns all of those businesses.
has grants and dedicated funds in almost all the major sectors. I'm sure you would have heard of Agnikul Cosmos, which developed India's first private satellite launch vehicle. And they
That's
got
pretty
early
cool.
funding support from IDEX, which is Innovations for Defense Excellence, and that comes under the Ministry of Defense. Similar to this, a huge number of Indian startups have received support from the government in the form of grants and funding. The best example of this government-private collaboration is our space sector, which has done phenomenally well in the last 10 years. See,
The space stuff is the hope of humanity. I think every country should strive to boost their space development sector tenfold. I think humans getting out into space is going to be the ultimate goal for humanity, humans in general, to spread ourselves across the stars. I won't be along, or I won't be around for any of that, but I hope my ancestors, can achieve that dream. I really do hope that humanity is able to become a multiplanetary species.
See, 10 years ago, ISRO was just a regular space agency with some achievements but nothing spectacular. The world first noticed ISRO when in 2014 our Mars orbiter mission Mangalyaan successfully reached the orbit of Mars. India was the first Asian country to achieve this and the fourth in the world. But this was not the main achievement, it was the efficiency with which ISRO completed this
was
mission.
cheap, right?
The entire Mangalyaan mission was completed end to end in just 18 months and its cost was only $74 million.
Wow.
Compared to this, NASA's Maven mission, which also went to Mars, took 5 years to complete and cost $651 million. In fact, it took more money to make the movie Martian than it cost India to send a mission to Mars. Then India also beat other countries when it came to exploring
That's
the
funny.
moon. In 2023, India became the first nation in the world to land a spacecraft near the south pole of the moon, a region believed to have water. And these two missions have established that ISRO is in the top league when it comes to space. And now ISRO is helping a range of young startups to solve the most challenging space problems. For the next decade, India has some ambitious plans for its space program.
There's a pretty big startup that's aiming to develop reusable rockets, right?
In 2026, we plan to launch Gaganyaan, which is India's first manned space mission. Next, ISRO
very
wants to
cool.
set up our own space station by 2035, which will make us the fourth country after US, Russia and China to have our own space station. And finally, India is aiming to send humans to the moon by 2040, joining the US and China in this race. For me, India's growth is best symbolized by ISRO, and that's why I like to have this picture always in the background. It is an organization that began with borrowed technology and scrappy launches, and has now become a global space power, sending missions to the moon, Mars, and beyond. So these were some of the major wins India has had in the last 10 years, something most of us wouldn't have guessed would happen. Now, of course, we still have a long way to go. As Mr. Piyush Goyal had said, we have to compete on the world scale, whether it's in making semiconductor chips or making our own foundational AI models. But we should remember how far we have come from the time we started. The biggest thing, in my opinion, that
He's
has
so
happened in
right.
the last 10
It's
years
so
is
true.
that a billion Indians have now become a part of this growth journey. As we discussed earlier, most people did not have access to internet, electricity, or bank account, and in a way, they did not have any voice. But they have a voice now, and in the next 10 years, a big chunk of economic output will come from these people. In the end, I want to hear from you. What are some of the biggest positive changes that you have seen in India in the last 10 years? Let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for
I mean, based off what I've seen, like my main focus on India originally was like geography, Geoguessr stuff, right? The infrastructure buildup in India has been amazing. It's been phenomenal. I think infrastructure is the core, the bones to a country, and India's infrastructure is just getting better and better every day. And I like to see that. That's really good. This video is very eye opening. So much has changed in just 10 years. So many good things have happened. I love this. I love this. Every country should strive to make themselves and their people better. It's unfortunate that there are countries out there that don't do that, but India is not one of them. India seems to be one that is striving forward, and I think a lot of people don't realize this. I think people are too caught up in like more mundane problems to not see the true outcome of 10 years of innovation that India has gone through. Oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. Link to this video will be in the description down below, guys. Go give them a like, subscribe, leave a comment, do the whole thing, right? I'm gonna read some comments. Bro, beware. Opposition party supporter is coming to cursing you and will say your team prepare for criticism because they hate Modi G. I mean, this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Modi G or the BJP. Now, he was in power for all of this, correct? I think his first term started in like 2013, 2014, right? But like, I think this is separated enough. You don't have to, I don't know, go that deep. I'm impressed with the kind of transformation our government has brought into India. Actually, India has done equity growth rather than showing off a few cities. Most of the Indian villages are getting better than a lot of villages abroad. True. So true. The best thing that happened in the last decade is that people have higher expectations as they believe that our Prime Minister Modi can do it. Geo and UPI played a crucial part in setting the base for India's future. So true. Cleanliness, although not fully realized, Indians have become more aware of cleanliness and moving slowly to achieve Swatch. I don't know this word, Bharat. Poor law enforcement have to be fixed. Maybe when the next term Yogi G would come in power, he may focus on law. Is he talking about Yogi from UP, Uttar Pradesh? India doesn't become a superpower in the last 10 years, but it has transformed from a skyrocketing inflation and poverty-stricken, fragile economy to completely getting rid of extreme poverty and fastest growing as well as top 3 largest economy in the world. Now that is quite a remarkable achievement by Modi as Prime Minister, which would surely take us a step ahead in becoming a superpower in a true sense. All right, let's read some new comments. I want to see if there's anything new. He is speaking truth. Where is innovation? Did you not watch the video? Backstage with BJP. When did this channel become political? None of this was political. I think people... Oh my God. Okay. So this is when someone sees politics and everything. None of this video was political. When did this channel become political? We have many channels doing this. At least be honest with the idea of your channel unsubscribed. This channel, this video at least in particular, had no political leanings whatsoever. And if you fail to see that, I think that's a you problem. I think your brain is lost to this political war tension and seeing opposition and everything. Bro, India is not a bottom-up society. It's a frail and frantic society. My great India, Jai Bharat, proud BJP supporter. Jody Joestar here is actually, he comments on my channel. He's in my Discord as well. He's in a lot of them. How innovation idea, I guess I can reply to him. Hola. Improvement happened gradually, not drastically. Great video. Crying in the corner. INC crying in the corner. This video deserves more recognition. That's why you need strong leader. India has Modi G and his gang. Add cow dung to your GDP as well. All credit goes to our honorable Prime Minister Modi G. Modi. India is almost on the right path now. The government overregulation is a huge headache for startups. Piyush Goyal should be working on that. I don't know who that is. We need to share this video as much as possible. The video deserves millions of views. 85% of those days went into Congress Party's office. It will take only 3 years to be completely destroyed if Congress comes to power. Time to launch Swachh Bharat 2.0. Also, I hope every Indian city takes some inspiration from Indore. There is not much difference between BJP Congress. It's just BJP do more national development with international recognition. This proves that Congress did not do shit. Okay, so I think so a lot of this innovation happened with under the BJP, right? And I can see, yes, BJP Modi, is probably responsible for a lot of this, and I can see that people are thanking Modi for that. And you know what? They should. They should. It seems like he did what he needed to do. His government did what they needed to do because the last 10 years have been great. Now, that being said, again, this particular video was not political in any sense. People have the right to talk about it, though. I don't know. I think this guy is unsubscribing because he says the channel became political. I don't. But maybe it is. Maybe it has. I don't know. I haven't seen much more of the video or much more of the channel. The photo frame is damn inspirational. True, it is. The ISRO photo back there is pretty good. Are you shadow banned? He does only have 75,000 views on this. BJP means development, not for South India. This 10-year progress shame Congress. Somehow we need such debatable nationwide that they may make such impact on ground level who are looking for venture capital for their startup. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the channel. I'm curious to see if it's become a political talking point. Not really. Not that I see. There's nothing really major here. There's Starlink getting approved, and that's that $10 a month internet. How India is losing to China. I don't like how they're painting the narrative that China's better, though. That's the only thing that I don't like about the channel. But other than that, I mean, this doesn't seem political at all. Nothing in this seems like outwardly political. So, okay. Tim Cook, Indian startups. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. Well, link to the video will be in the description down below, guys. So please go and check it out. Without any further ado, I'm going to get out of here. Take care. Goodbye.